we're having this really close, intimate moment right now, and I am not sure how I feel about it.
Vlog every damn day.
Hello everybody, today is Thursday and that means it is time to review another Once Upon a Time episode. Today I'm going to be talking about the episode Dreamy, and I'm going to attempt to do it without my notes because anytime that I watch one of these episodes I make notes on the entire episode so that there are things that I don't forget to talk about, but I am going to intentionally force myself to not rely on these notes because I want to be talking more on what I thought rather than what happened in the episode, because if you're following it with me or if you've already seen it, you already know what happened. You don't need me to rehash it. Basically, this is another one of those episodes where it was just a filler. I am kind of getting frustrated with these filler episodes because there is so much that this show has to offer and there's so much going on, but yet we're filling it up with these episodes that are kind of, it wasn't boring to me, but it felt contrived a bit. This episode focuses on Grumpy and his plot progression not only in Fairy Tale World but in Storybrooke as Leroy. In a nutshell, dwarves are hatched from eggs. There are no female dwarves. They are incapable of love and have no feelings for anybody, much like my bowels after McDonald's. Grumpy is born early from the rest of his brothers because one of the fairies was flying overhead and accidentally dropped some fairy dust and it precariously landed on the egg, therefore giving him this sort of ability to love. When dwarves are born, they are given a pickaxe, and that determines their name based off of their personality, and Grumpy's original name was Dreamy. Now, as the story in Fairy Tale World progresses, Dreamy falls in love with a fairy. Her name is Nova, and Nova is a godmother in training, or she's really more like a fairy in training. She's not very good at what she does, but she tries very hard and she has a really strong, loving heart, and that is really what is most important in this show. The two of them fall in love after meeting each other, and they have this really tragic heartbreak moment. This show is supposed to be about the fairy tale characters having unhappy endings in Storybrooke, but I feel like their fairy tale stories were so tragic to begin with that there is no comparison for like, oh look how great their lives were in Fairy Tale World and look how horrible their lives are in Storybrooke. In all actuality, I feel like their lives in Storybrooke are better because they are not constrained to different things that hold them down. Dreamy was forced to break up with Nova in a really heart-wrenching way that really just made me very upset and angry. Went back to the mine, reclaimed his pickaxe, started to go to work again, but accidentally destroyed it, was given a brand new pickaxe, and that pickaxe gave him his new name, Grumpy. Now in Storybrooke, Miners' Day is coming up, and basically that is just a way to commemorate a really old holiday that used to go on in Storybrooke. Mary Margaret has developed a horrible rep around town. People are calling her all kinds of terrible names, and she's kind of gotten this rep as the town harlot because of everything that happened with David. Speaking of which, Emma is investigating Catherine's disappearance. It was just a mess. A whole big giant mess, with the episode ending and David getting in the back of Emma's car to go back to the police station to be interrogated. I thought it was really cute that the characters were able to rectify themselves in some way in Storybrooke. We see that Grumpy's personification, known as Leroy in Storybrooke, and Nova's personification in Storybrooke, known as Astrid, are kind of developing loving feelings for each other again and seem to be following the parallel of their story from Fairy Tale World, and it was just a really sweet story that happened. They have this very fluid electric connection with each other, and I really enjoyed seeing that. And I loved this episode. There's nothing really horrible about this episode, but I just feel like it moved so slow and there was such little story progression with what I want to see and really what I am caring about. I love the other characters. I love getting to learn about them. It's just the pace needed to be picked up just a smidge for me to like not completely check out. I was like this close to just checking out of this episode completely because it was fun, it was nice, it was a nice little pace continuance. There's really nothing different about this episode than previous plot filling episodes. It wasn't spectacular, but there were moments that redeemed itself. Granted, I think that the problem in fairy tales is that you get a lot of characters that are introduced as background characters and you never really get to know anything about them. So I will say, as a counteracting statement, that it is very nice to get to learn about the background characters and get to know more about their story. It's just this was a little too slow, and the progression of everything that happened with Catherine took 40 minutes to essentially do what about 30 seconds of TV time could have done. And, you know, I feel like that whole plot is just moving slowly, and I'm hoping that we get an entire episode filled with just that. At the very end of the episode, we also saw that Mary Margaret is kind of regaining her reputation as a good person in the town, and I like that. It's kind of nice to not see her bullied, because I don't think that she's really that horrible. I do think that it was wrong that what she did, but at the same time, I also feel like she needs to get a little bit of grace, and David should be the one that is getting called out. People are so quick to always blame the girl in situations like this, and they are so fast to say, you are the one that fucked up. You should have known not to go after a married man. But we also have to consider that the married man also went after the available girl while he was still married. So I am not really digging this double standard. It's pissing me off because David was the one that screwed up too, and no one is vandalizing his stuff or calling him names. People are just kind of like giving him a free pass, or at least that's how it's being shown. And I don't know if that's a writer thing or if that is something that they wanted to develop within the town, but it's making me very upset and rant. All in all, for this episode, I'd give it about 5 out of 10. It was neither here nor there. It was just kind of there. But that doesn't mean it was bad. It just was there. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys all next week with another review, and I will see you all tomorrow with another video. So have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace out. Take a mouse. Ooh. I'm pretty sure I covered everything without having to look at my notes. Oh! That's what I wanted to talk about. Nova is Dr. Saunders from Dollhouse. And when I saw her, I legitimately freaked out. I think that's the thing that held me onto this episode, is that she is in this, and I love her.